to The Experience Today, where we explore the fascinating intersections of psychology, the human experience, and American politics.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this live episode of The Experience Today with your, well, I have to mention the queen bee, queen host herself, Miss Valerie Zen, while I sit in the backdrop and, as the other host doing all the production stuff on the back end, driving my own self crazy back here. But I think our internet issues are finally fixed. Hooray. So we can bring this live to you as we always do. It was kind of off doing it pre-record, wasn't it, Miss Val?
Yeah, it was very off. I was not happy with it. Yeah, this is much better. We're real. We're for real. We're alive. Unlike Joe Biden, hey, it's a good day. They're finally catching up with the auto pen, admitting that he wasn't all there. Come on. Who didn't know that from the get-go? What a crazy world this is, huh?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the whole experience, it has been, for me, and I'll be honest with everybody, it's frustrating. It's been frustrating because, having pre-recording is not bad, but it's like when you've gone, we've been doing this for 7 years. Yeah, 7 years, and the only time we taken off was either I was on a vacation or you were sick, whatever. But we never still pre-recorded. We just deferred to the next week. But the internet issues and how long they went on and on and on was frustrating. And then me trying to correct it seemed like it added more on and on and on. And it just seemed like this thing never ended. So I'm telling you guys, my experience today feels a lot better than it did the previous Tuesdays, like at least the previous 9 Tuesdays, But we're here, we're back. And
hey, there was only one night that I got really angry.
Yes.
And that's pretty good considering.
I agree.
Putting together all these shows, and you're busy trying to do the other end of things, and we're trying to loop together, and then the whole thing just goes blow. It's kind of like, you don't even know who to be angry at, the universe. But,
right.
Thank goodness. We all hung in there, and it's all happening, and it's all good.
I agree.
We're going to have our day. We're going to have many good days, I think.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice. No, we don't have a choice. This is on a lot of levels, a scary time. And, I've been really, and I don't know if I should totally focus in on this, but I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole jihad Sharia thing has me going outside of myself. I can't get October 7th out of my mind. I can't get 9/11 out of my mind. They were, a part of me. And I'm just like, how did we ever get to a point where we have so many terrorists, and I'm going to use that word, in our Congress, in our Senate, in our government, and they hate us. And they want to take over our country and our freedom. And they want to rule with Sharia. And I'm just going to say this, even though we can sit here now and say, oh no, we're not going to let that happen. I'm just going to say that England, I'm sure, said that as well. I'm sure Paris, France, said that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Germany was like sloshing along with this. And look where they're at right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of the European countries have Second Amendment rights. I'm actually unfamiliar with that.
No, they don't have Second Amendment rights in England. Yeah. There's no such thing. per se.
Right, right. So, I have to positively look at our country right now and say, well, we have something to fight back with. I don't think Iran had anything to fight back with in 79 when they came through the streets and just started shooting. I mean, I don't think Cuba had Second Amendment rights when they came in and took over the country with military vehicles. No. So right now in this moment, we're one up. But it's very scary because what we do know for sure is that while Joe Biden was busy using the auto pen, he also had our borders wide open, and the cells were being successfully established. I would go so far as to say in every single state in the United States, right? And probably Canada and all over Mexico. I mean, they've got us surrounded. And, they're mean, and they're intense, and they're killers. Those three things. So it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
On top of all the things that are happening, in our country with the shutdown government, people are going to start getting real hungry and real angry, and that's real.
Right.
Real.
Right.
Yeah. There's nothing like hunger, right?
Right.
But I also think about, how did we get here? How did we get to a place where, after all the racism that we fought in this country, have we turned the acceptance of racism into the acceptance of jihad?
Yeah, we have. I'll be honest. I think we have, right? And it's ironic that you chose this song, these words in this song, right? Those of you that don't listen to the Rolling Stones, right, you wouldn't recognize this song. But soon as you sent me this, I was like, damn, Rolling Stones. So I went and I pulled it up on my Apple Music while I was, getting this show put together, in my dead time, my 3 hours three hours of dead time that I have during the day, and I started listening to the lyrics. I'm like, okay, but then
Lucifer,
right? So with that, I go back and I think about this, right? The song was released in '68, right?
Oh, I didn't realize it was that old, but okay.
Yeah, the song was released in '68, if I remember reading correctly, right?
Okay.
Now let's think about what was happening. What was happening in that period of time, right?
Yep.
Right. We had the assassination of MLK.
Yes.
During that period.
Civil riots.
Yeah, civil riots were going on, right? But if you listen to the lyrics, they talked about the Kennedy assassination on low key. They talked about that, right?
Yes.
And I suggest everybody to listen to that song, right? Because I started realizing some things as I was thinking about it today and what have you, right? People have to remember, right? Evil and destruction are not solely the work of an external force, right? But this evil that you've spoken of, right, is also, right, inherent within the humanity of this country, and we see it every single day. Every time you open up a headline, right, and we're looking at, the CNNs of the world and the CBSs and the Fox Newses of the world and all these different things, and we literally see people in itself pointing out the evil in other people, but not holding themselves accountable. But I don't want to get into that part because that'd just be a back and forth thing, right? But I want to say this before you continue on, right? We all collectively, right, are responsible for the world's tragedies. Now, people don't take that completely to heart. I'm saying it as a generalization, right? Either
Right.
through direct action or complicity or inaction, right? So one of those three things exist. The question is when you get involved either in a direct action, right, or being complicit in it, why? Are you doing it for the good, not the greater good, but for the good of humanity, right? Because again, when people tell you there's this greater good for humanity, they're speaking of complicity. And that's not what you want as the greater good. You'll be complicit in this if you don't stand up for the greater good.
Mhm.
And they will manipulate you in that. So again, like y'all go listen to this song and just play out the time period they were in and literally apply it to today. And you'll see you not only are you going to see parallels, but your eyes will not unsee what you've seen again. But I'm going to digress because I can keep going. Go ahead, Ms. Val.
Well, Rod, it's interesting because I actually first heard this song. I was addicted like 25 years ago to Anne Rice's novels, the vampire novels. It was a series.
Mm-hmm.
And they made, the first movie was Interview with the Vampire with Brad Pitt. And the second one was The Vampire Lestat, who was his person that he made into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
The first scene of the movie, Tom Cruise he's a vampire. He's riding through the air in a convertible, and he's listening to this song, which is how I heard it. It was in the 2000s. I don't remember what year exactly it was.
Mm-hmm.
So to translate her books about the vampires, it's almost as if she was a visionary, seeing what we would be dealing with today. It's even more than that. She took the Rolling Stones from '68, moved it up 20 years into her vampire series. And honestly, the opening to that movie, The Vampire Lestat, which I had already read the book, was absolutely dynamic. And it really spelled out the time. Well, not only the time, these vampires, some of them were 500 years old. And if you can even imagine only living in the darkness and knowing 500 years of humanity,
right,
and not being able to get out of it. I mean, it was really very startling for me. So I always knew the song from the movie with Tom Cruise. And that's how I came to think about it. Anyway, I've also been listening to a lot of Laura Loomer lately because she's really on this invasion in our country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not only of Venezuelan drug dealers and all the horrible stuff that's been going on, but specifically jihad. And she's had on recently some great politicians. She did an interview with Chip Roy. She did one with Tommy Tuberville. Mm-hmm. She did one with Randy Fine of Florida and Tim Burchett recently. Mm-hmm. I think I've noticed they took them all down. They took them all down, so I'm going to report on them. We've got some great bills going through now in finally the recognition by our politicians that we're in effing trouble. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to ban Sharia in one way or another. And Laura Loomer brought up to Randy Fine, she said, why don't we just ban the hijabs and the burqas. And he said, no, because I'm Jewish, and until 2 years ago in the halls of Congress, I could not wear a yarmulke. He said, that's not the way to go about this.
Right.
Right? It was actually very thoughtful, you know, to think this way. That's why I like to listen to a lot of different people, because it feeds you. So the Islamification of America, there's a bill now. 15 congressmen have signed it and supported it. We need Republicans to sponsor this bill, bad and big. So I would recommend to everyone, start writing letters to all the Congress people, your Senate, anybody. These bills, if there's time, we've got to try to pass them. I don't know the time frame of jihad. I think they're on some level very patient, and on another level it's happening way too fast. When you look at Dearborn, you look at what's about to take place in New York City, you know, you look at, like, well, California, I believe California is mostly red, but it's just so degenerate. There's so much thievery and stealing and ripping off that you don't know what it is anymore. But, you know, we have to do this. We're responsible for this, because we've got to stand up and say, no, don't give me the racist bullshit. I'm not a racist. I'm an American, and I want freedom. And I could go to the next place, which Sharia. I may do two parts of this, because it's very deep and it's very involved in who we are and who we are as women in this country. I mean, all of us have lived with the most dynamic freedom that women have ever had. Don't forget, it was, 1920 when women won the right to vote?
Yes.
Hasn't been that long when you think about how long we've existed. And in my life, I mean, I went everywhere alone. I drove to Florida myself from New York with my German Shepherd. I wasn't that brave. I mean, I always had a German Shepherd by my side. You know, shopping, movies, meeting people, Now, I mean, there's like a whole other existence looking over our shoulders, just based on, let's just say, people that should not be in our country, who are not here legally. And it's become scary for women. But all these feminists and militant LGBT community people better learn fast what Sharia law would do to them and how it spells itself out. And I doubt they really know what the hell is going on at this point. They don't. They're just stupid, want to fit in, screaming, over-medicated, horrible food. They're products of the most distorted world you could ever send a kid off to college to. So we have it. We own it. It's ours. They're here, and we're here. So I spent really the last week studying Sharia law as best I could. And I'm assuming most people know who Rahim Kassam is. I can't speak.
Yes.
Rahim Kassam, yes, he worked with Breitbart.
Yep,
he's been on the air with, Steve Bannon. I mean, he's influential. He is a Muslim, and he's a Brit. And like 8 or 9 years ago, he wrote a book called No-Go Zones. And this is 8 or 9 years ago. mind you. And the jihad movement has been so effective, especially in the European countries. England, by far the worst. So I bought this book because when you go online and you look up Sharia, a lot of it is very pro-Sharia, pro-Islam, all kinds of crazy Lulus writing books. And I said, you know what? I want to hear this from the horse's mouth, from someone who I know is pro-American, pro our movement, freedom, liberty, the whole 9 yards. And his book is really an eye-opener. It's called No-Go Zones, in case somebody wants to look it up or take it out the library, whatever. So I'm just going to read this one short page of what he writes about women in Sharia. And this is quite alarming, especially to those who are out on the streets chanting with their signs to hate everybody but the people they should be hating. So, a Muslim woman may not, under any circumstances, marry a non-Muslim man unless he converts to Islam. Such a woman's children will be separated from her until she marries a Muslim man. Polygamous marriage, 2 to 4 wives, is considered legal. A husband has conjugal rights over his wife, and she should normally answer his summons to have sex, but she cannot summon him for the same reason. A woman may not stay with her husband if he leaves Islam. Non-Muslims may be deprived of their share in an inheritance. A wife has no property rights in the event of divorce. Sharia law must override the judgments of British courts. Rights of child custody may differ from those in UK law. Taking out insurance is prohibited, even if required by law. There is no requirement to register a marriage according to the law of the country. A Muslim lawyer has to act contrary to UK law where it contradicts Sharia. Women are restricted in leaving their homes and driving cars. Sharia law of legitimacy contradicts the Legitimacy Act 1976. A woman may not leave her home without her husband's consent, which may constitute false imprisonment. Legal adoption is forbidden. A woman may not retain custody of her child after 7 for a boy or 9 for a girl. Fighting the Americans and British is a religious duty. Recommendation of severe punishments for homosexuals. A woman cannot marry without the presence and permission of a male guardian. An illegitimate child may not inherit from his or her father. American woman, stay away from me. I just want to say that we're looking at the ignoring of the existing law in Great Britain. Whatever law the British government had, Sharia takes over and no longer exists. Women become the worst of second-class citizens, and our country would be gone. You there?
Oh, I'm here.
Hello? Oh, you're there. Okay. I get scared that my phone went out.
No, you're fine.
I mean, how do we get the schools and the colleges, and how do we educate people that this is real? They're doing it.
You can't educate them, right? You can't educate the indoctrinated, and I hate to say it that way, but it's really the truth, right? As harsh of a truth as it is, right?
It is.
We can't we can't unindoctrinate, right? Because it's because even if we try to educate, it's still on principle indoctrination, right? Which means they would have to go through, this is what the communists say, re-education, right? And I don't like to use that word, but for the context of this conversation, I'm going to. A lot of these, a lot of our fellow American citizens, right? They have. I'm gonna go back before I go into the re-education piece, right? Before I make a religious parallel. These people that we're looking at are coddling up with the devil.
Yeah.
Right? We're in this paradigm, right? And mind y'all, this is the people we're talking about before we even get to the solution of this, right? These are the same people, going back to the song, that the title of the show, Sympathy For The Devil, right?
Yep.
Cops are criminals and sinners are saints, right?
Luciferian agenda.
Right?
Right.
This is where we are, right? In order to, quote unquote, re-educate these type of people, we have to force them into introspection. We have to force these people into introspection, right? Because everybody's heard me, you've heard me say it before in many conversations, even privately, right? That one thing you could never do is lie to your heart. Right? You can't lie to your heart. Your heart is the judge, jury, and executioner of your soul. If you lie to it, it's going to tell you, you are a blatant liar. And as you keep denying your heart, that devil keeps seeping in to your flesh and into your life, right? This is, and now we'll start getting into talking about illiberalism. Right, and this is what else that song talks about, is illiberalism on the sly, right? Because they will trade off constitutional principles to lay and sleep with the enemy, aka Islam, aka cartels, aka Fabian socialists, Democrat socialists. They will throw away the republic, what keeps them secure, Miss Val, right?
Yeah.
To cuddle up with the devil. This is why these people need introspection. Because even when these people get bit by the rabid dog, aka that type of devil, they keep coming back for more, like it feels good. And it doesn't feel good to get bit by anything rabid, because you will die.
Yeah.
And this is what these people are doing to these illiberal people. They want them to keep coming back and keep catching the snake venom, the rabid bite, anything you can think of. Then eventually they will die off. They will die off. But why, while they have them in this rabid phase, aka these wild-haired liberals, these bleeding heart liberals, why they're still suffering from the long exposure to the devil's venom?
Yes.
Right? They will not stop until they destroy everything in their path, aka what we're seeing today. I'm going to circle it right back. No Kings protest. It's kind of funny they'd use that no Kings protest, not understanding there is one king, and that's Christ our Lord. That's the only king, right? That's the only king, according to the
Sharia,
book, right?
In Sharia, it's Allah and Sharia, and they're mad form of living that is the king. They're trading, they are accusing Trump of being the king,
Mm-hmm.
but Sharia is imposing Islam on the earth. So who's the king here?
Mm-hmm. Right. Go ahead. Go.
No, think about what's gone on our planet in our lifetimes. How many people have come to this country, and I mean legally, to escape that?
Yeah.
They learn from experience too. And I can see New York turning into a ghost town quickly because everybody is going to run out of that city. Everybody is going to leave that state. And what are they going to be left with? The devil, who they had sympathy for. The Ugandan, who has 2 passports and an allegiance to something other than what this country stands for. Now, I know, Rod, that you have said you are against us deeming anything a terrorist group. But I have to tell you, in this instance, I can't shake the fact that radical Islam in this country, from Ilmar to Talib, these horrible, Brennan, these horrible people in our government, they should be deemed terrorists. They should be deemed to be this country.
I mean, and here's the thing, right? If we just set constitutional principle aside a second, 100%, I would deem these types of people, anybody, and let's make this clear, right? Even with the Constitution in place and what, and the principles it stands on, right? Any person that is repugnant or defiant of our U.S. Constitution should be deemed some sort of terrorist. I mean, let's keep it real, Ms. Val. They told us on January 6th, all those people that ran into the Capitol building were domestic terrorists, right? Now, y'all,
and they locked them up.
And look, and this is still the most unpopular opinion, and people don't know how to take me on this one, right? But let's keep I keep it 100,000, like a Woodrow Wilson bill, right? I don't care if it would have been BLM. I don't care if it would have been Antifa when in the Capitol. I still would have supported those people that ran into the people's house. Period. You took the business to the man directly. I wouldn't have cared. I would have supported them 100%. I know for some people like, oh no, that Antifa. No, I don't care. They took their business to the people's house where the business need to be brought, not burning shit in the middle of the damn street like they did in 2020. Right? Take the shit to the man. But what happened was some of our friends that was caught up in January 6th, all that, they deemed all of them domestic terrorists. So now they're mad. Watch this, Ms. Val. They're mad, right? Because that devil they unleashed is now working against them with these ICE protests. Now they're mad. Oh no, you can't send the soldiers out to fight the evil because the evil is good. Remember, people, cops are criminals, sinners are saints, right? So here we are watching these people say, they're coming in like stormtroopers and they should have been, no, full stop. You called those people on January 6th terrorists, right? So guess what? When the devil comes back, when the other team gets control of that devil and points that devil at you, don't cry, because you created the precedent for it. So now you can look at ICE agents and the National Guard as this and that, but y'all did that. You allowed the government to call your fellow countrymen domestic terrorists. So now you mad because the smoke is coming back to you. I'm sorry, you do not have a big enough gas mask to stop that smoke. You might as well take it. You might as well take all the smoke, inhale it like you just puffed a blunt, and just sit your narrow ass down somewhere and get called what you're supposed to be called, right? Because you decided to dance with the devil and thought the devil wasn't going to turn on you. And again, people, the devil being the government in this case. The government turned against you, and you thought you was going to be all hunky-dory and kosher.
The first line in Sympathy for the Devil, it describes Zohar to a T.
Yeah, it does.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.
Yes.
Now, if that isn't the devil,
come on now,
presenting himself, I'm ready to take you on. Here I am.
That's right.
I'm dangling all the diamonds. I'm dangling all the free stuff at y'all. You can all just follow me.
Right.
This is intense. And you know, the other thing that I learned, and I had. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we got to hit that break real quick since we got the break action back. So so y'all can go ahead and stand up, shake your legs, all that. We're able to run the breaks again. Shout out to many people in the world, in the Fox News world. So we're gonna run the break real quick, all that good stuff, and we will be back in 7.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages hitting fresh record highs for a third straight session as investors digested the latest crop of earnings reports while the Fed kicked off its 2-day monetary policy meeting. The Magnificent Seven stocks were mostly higher, led by Microsoft. Its stock rose 2%, notching a record close with its market cap greater than $4 trillion for the first time. AI darling Nvidia stock popped 5% for a record high. The chip-making giant is nearing a market value of $5 trillion. Nvidia has been hosting its GTC event in the nation's capital. Its CEO Jensen Huang announced several new partnerships and technologies, including an agreement with Uber to build a 100,000 robo-taxi fleet. The Dow up 162 points, the Nasdaq higher by 190, S&P 500 up 16. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Just do it. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's the message from Vice President J.D. Vance to Senate Democrats after a short-term spending bill failed again, the 13th time it failed to reach the 60 votes needed on day 28 of a government shutdown, with pain spreading.
We are trying as much as possible to ensure that critical food benefits get paid, that our military gets paid. But you know what makes it really easy? If the Democrats just opened up the government, then we wouldn't have to play this game.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Democrats continue to make clear that we will sit down with our Republican colleagues anytime, any place, here at the Capitol or back at the White House, in order to reopen the government.
Republicans say talks will not happen while a shutdown continues. On Saturday, food assistance benefits will be suspended, and Democrat-led states are suing, asking a federal judge to force the use of contingency funds.
There are billions of dollars in contingency funds and other funds that could be used to provide SNAP benefits during the
100% unequivocally, USDA does not have the $9.2 billion that it would require.
More than 20 states are part of the lawsuit, arguing not releasing the funds approved by Congress will violate federal law. Hurricane Melissa is hammering Jamaica after making landfall with 185-mile-per-hour winds, then heading northeast toward Montego Bay.
That entire area is lined with resorts and hotels. 25,000 tourists are still on the island, hunkered down inside those structures.
Fox Weather's Robert Ray, about 50 miles east of Montego Bay. Life-threatening flooding also a concern. 2 feet of rain possible in some areas before Melissa heads back into the sea toward Cuba and the Bahamas tomorrow. America is listening to Fox News. There is some bipartisan work in the Senate on legislation that would create
nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. If you're hearing me, I'm going to assume you're awake. And if you aren't, Because while you're snoozing, someone else might be finding your dream home. That's where Realtor.com comes in. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, that's a lot of chances to find the place you've been dreaming of. Whether you're searching for a 2-story mid-century with a pool or a little extra space with a spa-inspired bathroom, Realtor.com can help you find it today. So quit hitting that snooze button. Realtor.com isn't sleeping on finding your dream home, and neither should you. Download the Realtor.com app today, cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pro's #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
8 new rules for artificial intelligence after teen suicides. The parents blame on chatbot interactions.
We are here today to begin to vindicate a simple principle, which is that the pursuit of profits by Silicon Valley should not consume and destroy America's children.
Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley introducing the bill with Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal. The proposal requires age verification and would set up criminal penalties if chatbots elicit sexual conduct from minors or encourage suicide. The Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio just confirming that 3 military personnel were found dead over the weekend. There is no word yet on a cause of death. Japan's new prime minister following through on her predecessor's trade deal with the U.S. during her first meeting with President Trump. Fox's Jackie Heinrich in Tokyo.
Japan's new Prime Minister, Sanae Takaishi, rolled out the red carpet for President Trump with a number of personal touches, a full military greeting before a lunch of American beef and American rice, a gifted golf club from Shinzo Abe, the late Prime Minister who was President Trump's friend. The leaders even watched some of the World Series together before sitting down to finalize Japan's pledge to invest a tenth of its economy in the U.S. to stave off tariffs over 15%, and it worked. Takaishi also joined President Trump aboard the USS George Washington to rally the troops, where he announced the first batch of missiles for Japan's F-35 fighter jets will arrive next week ahead of schedule.
The president heads next to a summit in South Korea. We get the Fed's take on the U.S. economy tomorrow. Today, more new highs on Wall Street for the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. Game 4 of the World Series tonight in L.A. after the defending champion Dodgers took a 2-1 lead over the Blue Jays last night in 18 innings. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
I want to welcome y'all back to the Experience Today. Again, I'm your host, Mr. Roderick Threets himself, in the voice, maybe the flesh, I don't know. It might be sitting in some flesh, eating bacterias. But anyway, I digress. But it ain't just about me. It's the other lady on the other side of me, Miss Valerie Zinn. That's who it's really about. I'm just here. I'm here by happenstance. But we're talking about sympathy for the devil. Devil hatred pours out your heart when people allow it to happen, and it feels good to these people to let it go, but they think they're doing. Never mind. I'll start dictating stuff.
They're not even thinking.
They're not think. What, you think they have a thought process? How dare you?
No, they pumped all that poison into them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're gone. Honestly, I've shared with you that I really think that. I do. Nobody's quite the same. It's just me. And actually, everybody's different. Some people do okay, and too high a percentage of people are not very okay. So,
I agree with that.
Statistics kind of sometimes speak for themselves, although we don't have statistics. Today, Dr. Hatfield was on with Steve Bannon, and he was the big shot in the beginning of the pandemic movement.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow he got fired today. And I don't know if Bobby Kennedy knew what was going on. Kennedy Jr. I don't know how this happened, but he was very upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we could have planned for this. Anybody that speaks out in this moment is going to get sent out to pasture. Whoever they can get rid of, they're going to just do it.
Right. That's right.
We're in a hard fight on so many levels. So, and Trump is trampsing all over the world, trying to bring business into this country, which he's doing successfully. He's trying to build our economy. He's going to make a lot of money for us. If he succeeds, hopefully the Supreme Court will be okay with him establishing tariffs. I mean, how did that end up coming to the Supreme Court? It's obvious he should be able to do this. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to just talk about in finishing up tonight's Sharia discussion is, many years ago I had a friend who did business in Japan, and he spoke fluent Japanese, and he said, you never do a business negotiation in Japanese because they have so many little expressions and symbols and things that you could never know learning the language. You had to grow up with it. You had to be a part of it.
Right.
You know that in our own languages. Sharia is quite the same. So the knowing the terminology defined by Sharia changes the understanding of what a non-Muslim audience hears. This is very important because we're being socked with this crap right now, especially with Zoran, whatever the hell he is.
Don't mess with the Zohan.
I can't look at that smile of the demon who just wants to stab you in the back. That's what I see. Backstabbers. So they talk about human rights. It's through Sharia, not through what we know as human rights. Peace in Islam is a state that exists when the whole world is Islam. They don't mean that you do you and we do us and we live in peace. That's how we think, not what they think. This is very important to understand because these guys are out there on their platforms, on the media, using our terminology and our words, and we think it means what we think it means, but it doesn't. It's anyone who kills Muslims outside Sharia prescribed reasons is a terrorist. So we are terrorists if we kill them. If they kill us, they're doing it for Sharia.
So let me get the standard straight, right? I want to get the standard straight. So what we're talking about, and I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there because it still plays to the strategy of cops are criminals and sinners are saints, right? Like these illiberal liberals will demonize, quote unquote, Christians and people that believe in Christ and the Holy Bible. They'll say, no, you can be wiped off the face of the earth because you are a Christian.
Right.
Right. But we have the other faction of people, which are majority brown people. No, it's okay if they kill you for their jihad or whatever they call it, right? It's the same principle that's applied in the United States, right? I want people to really look at the parallels of this, that what the illiberal liberals are actually preaching, right? They'll sit here and say a brown person has justification for violence against people that don't look like them, but the person, the lightly melanated person, doesn't have a right to defend themselves against said violence. Can we make that make sense, please?
I can't.
I mean, this is what these illiberal liberals think. Oh, we won't attack Islam, LGBTQ. We're not going to attack Islam, but Islam is throwing you off the roof, man. Islam is hitting you with stones, with your head. And I want people to understand, right? Those of you who've never seen it before or had it described to you before, I'm not going to be graphic, but I'm just going to put it just like this, right? Especially when anybody they stone, right? And I saw a woman get stoned. And this is crazy.
Horrible.
This is crazy work, right? They will bury you up to your shoulder so you can't wiggle out, and your head stays above the ground. And you know what they do? They don't throw big bricks at you. They throw pebbles at your head. Bam, 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 bam. I want people to think about that a second, right? The devil is at work, right? These illiberal liberals, oh, we're feminists, so don't touch us, but you're the same women that they're going to put in hijabs and burqas. Right? And then if you don't obey, they're going to bury you up to your head in the city park that you live in and stone you. I want people to understand that. But y'all go ahead and caught up with the devil, because a lot of us that love liberty and freedom, Miss Val, a lot of us that love it, we will let it happen to you, but it won't happen to us, because once they eliminate you, we're going after the person that did it to you. I digress, though.
You know, I heard someone say last week that through the mouth of jihad, they said the West is like mounting a woman. Weak. Rape. It's like nothing to them. They see us as weak. And by the way, they make truces and treaties. Means nothing. Mm-hmm. It means nothing to them. You know, Mondami is on the streets of New York promising the world to these people. And believe me, they're gonna be eating shit sandwiches for sure. It's gonna be so unlivable there. And you know what? My attitude is, go for it. You know what? Some people have lessons to learn the hard way. The city that never sleeps, you'll never sleep because you're going to be worried about your door getting slammed open and getting shot. And, you know, when I think about dying, I don't want to die in terror. I want to just slip right out. I think we all have that desire.
Right.
Being terrorized is absolutely the worst thing in the world. Mm-hmm. When I was working in New York, I had met Israelis, and I would say to them, why did you leave your own country? You know, at the time, I didn't understand. They said, because I couldn't sleep at night wondering if I was going to wake up the next morning. But on some level, they left their countries and didn't fight for it and make it better. I mean, there's two ways to look at these things, and I guess it's an individual thing. I'm not judging anybody, but I choose to stay in my country and fight however I can fight.
Right.
I don't know at this point how fast I could run, or, you know, how quickly I could pull a trigger or plant a knife in someone's head. I don't know. But when that adrenaline gets flowing, you almost never know what you're capable of. So, you know, I think we can see how this got started. Silicon Sharia. You know, we're looking at that. We've been looking at that the past 5 years.
100%.
Shutting down our, you know, can't talk about COVID. You got get thrown off of YouTube. You can shadow ban. You know, we've all seen no hate speech, and you've talked a lot about that. Hate speech is free speech. So if it's hate speech, big deal. But,
Right.
Islam is very offended if you say anything against Islam. I read last week that a woman was walking down the street in England with a Jewish star on. They killed her for it because they were offended. Okay? So they have their own level of righteousness and what's appropriate because that was violent to them. Just saying.
Right.
So, we have to look at the whole picture happening right now. Italy is banning face covering. I guess that's a good thing. Brothers of Italy. I don't know where the Vatican comes into that because the Vatican is pretty messed up. I'll just leave it at that.
Agreed.
Right? But, violating our norms, culturally attacking us. We've been funding their mosques. Are we freaking crazy? What the hell? This has to stop.
Yeah.
I don't know how many thousands of mosques they have built in our Christian churches, I might add, and in weird buildings, in warehouses, in the woods, there are training camps everywhere. What is going on in the United States of America? It's got to stop. Intolerance has to take hold here.
100% correct.
No more. Get out. In fact, don't go somewhere else. Drop dead. That's my attitude.
I mean, look. A lot of us we understand our way of life, right? And in a country, and we're just going to call it for what it is, right? In a country that we value our Second Amendment, right? Amongst and being able to do these to exercise our rights and liberties. I don't want anybody covered up while they're exercising, especially their Second Amendment. I mean, in most states it's illegal. If you're carrying a firearm, you can't have your face covered. State of Florida is one of them. You can't cover your face and carry a firearm. Period. It's against the law. Second-degree felony. Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I know in the Wild West they covered their faces, didn't they?
They did until things started happening. But state of Florida, no, you can't cover your face and carry a firearm. It's against the law, right? And I think every state should have that. So we know, you know what I'm saying? So if you got your face covered, you ain't got a firearm. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if you understand the laws of your state, your municipalities, you can pick and choose who's carrying and who's not. And if they're carrying and they got their face covered, they're going directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And make sure your ass see at least a year of time in jail for that. But anyway, I digress.
Listen, next time Fauci makes us wear masks, carry our guns with it. Right?
Yep.
And the final kebab on women is in Islam. Take little girls at 6 years old. They buy them as property, ladies, and they wait until they're 9 to start stooping them.
Yep.
Make me sick. Make me really sick.
Right. Yep.
This is a form of insanity that I'm freaked out about. I know I should calm down, but
it's not insanity. It's the devil at work. The devil is working overtime, and that's what we're seeing.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
We got to roll out. We got to roll like Autobots. Ms. Val, thank you for a great conversation this evening. I hope everybody in the said audience enjoyed the conversation. Make sure you've subscribed to this on the Rumble. Make sure you've done the same on the audio side, wherever you get your podcast, to catch these up later. And as you see on the top right-hand part of your screen, everywhere you can see Torture Liberty Media, all that good stuff. Again, Ms. Val, thank you. I thank everybody else. Remember, folks, you gotta love your neighbors, even though you may not like them. Love your family, but most importantly, if you do not love yourself, you cannot love anybody else or anything else. Until next time, until Friday, y'all, for Southern Liberty. Peace and love. Enjoy your week.